I have a bad feeling that what I'm about to say will put me in the minority. But will you do me a favour? If these words chime with you, if you see football in the way that I do, please do me a favour and like this video. I do like to monitor it. I adore the League Cup. I think it is a wonderful trophy. I think it's a beautiful, historic piece of silverware, and I take it incredibly seriously. I'm delighted that Chelsea have made it through. I am dreaming of the prospect of going to Wembley, and I really do think that it is an important trophy. And if you look back over recent winners or winners over the years, it is generally one of the best teams that compete that league that win that trophy. Jose Mourinho spoke so gloriously and articulately about the prestige that this trophy carries. He would say that it would whet your appetite. He would say that winning this trophy will open the floodgates to more silverware. You are so much more likely to win more silverware if you win this in February. And that is why the significance of Newcastle United beating Manchester City cannot be overstated. Newcastle United have knocked Manchester City out of the Carabao Cup. Remember, until recently, this was Manchester City's trophy. We know how seriously Pep Guardiola takes this trophy. We know the rapport that Manchester City fans feel with this trophy. They owned this trophy. It really does mean so much to them. And they have been dumped out at the first possible opportunity. Remember, Eddie Howe has never beaten Pep Guardiola in anything before. But tonight, Alexander Isak with the only goal of the game. And people will focus on his contribution, but we must immediately acknowledge the contribution of Tino Livramento. He was outstanding on his first start for Newcastle. Totally unplayable, brilliant, undoubtedly man of the match. A sensational performance from him. And Newcastle, remember how good they were last year when they didn't concede goals. There was a period, remember, when they were just so miserly at the back, so stingy. It's happening again. They are now 4 clean sheets in a row. They aren't conceding goals, and when they don't concede goals, they certainly have the firepower to score goals. When you think about their team, they are goals galore in that side. So Eddie Howe is starting to get it right. They are starting to fall into place. Things are looking good up on Tyneside. And they got to the final last year, didn't they? Remember, I believe that Newcastle United are on the precipice of winning some significant silverware, and probably an awful lot of it. But the longer it goes that they don't, the longer it's likely to go. So they need a trophy. This could be the one. This trophy could be the one that they so desperately need. They have been waiting for silverware for such a long time. There would be an entire swathe of season ticket holders in the Gallagate that have never seen their team win silverware. A couple of cup finals in the 90s. That's what they're looking at. And now I think it could be coming. They have just launched Manchester City out of the competition. And they deserved it. Look, there were times where they couldn't get the ball off Manchester City. You know, Manchester City were doing their death by 1,000 passes for quite large portions of the game. But it was Eddie Howe. It was Eddie Howe. He got it so right. It was Eddie Howe's substitutions. We have to give him the praise here. The fact that he could get it so right. The impact subs. Bringing on Bruno Guimaraes when he did. Bringing on Anthony Gordon. Changing the game for Newcastle. And Newcastle United have beaten the treble winners. The treble winners have been beaten. And any dreams, I doubt that Manchester City fans are thinking like this, but at one point, we thought, how could Guardiola better a treble? There's only one way, the quadruple. That is now over, and it's largely thanks to Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe and his team, and it's important to acknowledge the contribution of the team, because I think what we naturally do is say, didn't Joe Linton do well for the goal, or excellent finish from Isak, very composed, took his time, had a touch, was sensible, made no mistake, all very impressive, right? Anthony Gordon, excellent contribution as well. But I think we have to acknowledge the contribution of their defence, their back four. That is the point of this video, really. The stinginess is back at Newcastle United. And remember tonight, it was a makeshift back four. You know, Domit hadn't started a game for over a year. Lascelles not started since March. And, you know, I've really questioned Jamal Lascelles. I actually questioned Eddie Howe. I suggested that Eddie Howe had got the transfer strategy wrong in the summer, because they didn't sign another centre-half. Shah and Botman are excellent centre-halves, but if they don't find somebody else to come in, they are lumbered with Jamal Lascelles and Dan Burn playing centre-half in Europe, and I think they'll be undone. They proved tonight that that isn't the case. Because the fact that Lascelles has started, damn it, it's amazing. Bearing in mind as well, Tino Livramento is making his first start for the club ever, and yet they have managed to keep a clean sheet. And Newcastle United into the last 16 after a stirring win. Feels like it could be a season-defining moment, that. They have beaten Manchester City. Sometimes you need to do that, to announce yourself, to be serious, to install that belief in the team. You need to beat one of the best. It's a point, actually, that's applicable to Arsenal. One of the reasons that Arsenal is struggling to eclipse Manchester City or get up there is because they cannot beat Manchester City in the head-to-heads. They played each other last year 3 times, and 3 times Arsenal got battered. Even in the cup game that finished, it looked like a tight margin on the scoreline, they were battered. Sometimes there is something symbolic about just overcoming one of the best teams in the world. There is something symbolic. There is something awakening about doing it. And Newcastle United have done it. And, it wasn't easy for them. Yes, Manchester City played a weakened team. And in the first half, they were outpassed to, at various points, an embarrassing degree. But their defence held firm. They stuck to the game plan. And then they sprinkled their bit of stardust at half-time. Eddie Howe brought on the big guns at half-time. On came Guimaraes, on come Gordon. And then there was just so much aggression, so much venom, a real spark in the air on Tyneside. And that did change the game. It was deserved, I think, overall. But I think this is a massive moment for Newcastle United. This could be the moment that we look back on in a few years' time. Chelsea had a moment against Arsenal, Wayne Bridge. The club changed that night. We never look back. Knocking the treble winners out of a cup competition could be that moment, especially if Newcastle United go on to win this competition, which, let's face it, they are clearly capable of doing. This cup competition, it is beautiful, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing. And the thought of going to Wembley, que sera, sera, it will be brilliant. It really is a brilliant cup competition. So please let me know if you agree. If you do, please give this video a like. And by the way, if you're new around here, just to introduce myself, my name's Rory. I talk about football a lot, and it would be my honour to welcome you into this community. So please do click that subscriber button right now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Huge congratulations to Newcastle United. Chelsea are also in the next round. Can you believe it? Chelsea have won a game, kept a clean sheet, scored a goal, Jackson on the score sheet. It's all coming up rosy. Right, have a wonderful night. The glory of the cup competitions. Get it.